Hey there, Kayla.
Hey,
How are you?
good, you?
Good.
Do you still have really close neighbors?
Yep. Got my assistant here. We're good. Good today. Okay. Hopefully some others show up. It's not just a personal training call again.
Are you going to teach your class that you were going to teach last week, sometime this month?
Remind me what one that was again.
I think it was passive incomes, and I couldn't do it because of the Ken Sachs class.
Yeah, I believe I rescheduled it to this month. I should be on the calendar.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, because I had done a bunch of prep work for it, and I was like, I really don't want to find something else and do prep work for it. I was like, I'll just recycle it. Because yeah, I didn't even record it because I was like, I'm not teaching for nobody. If it was something like setting up a search in Flex or something that was like step by step, I would record it because it'd be worth it. But something like this that's more back and forth, it doesn't make sense for me to do it by myself. How was the Ken Sachs class?
It was really good. I learned a lot.
Yeah, I love him. He's such a good teacher. My cat is very happy here. We'll see how far we can make it into this. Okay, I'm going to give it another minute or two, Kayla, and then we'll get started. Which is good because apparently my cat wanted a bunch of attention right this minute. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So obviously today I wanted to talk about objections specifically with commissions, right? Because that's typically our two biggest objections. Now, not questions, but objections that we face when we're going on a listing presentation are, you know, will you do it for less money for you, or I want to price it higher than you're saying that I should. So the main thing to remember all the time with scripts is you always want to make sure you acknowledge bridge and control, and make sure that you're understanding the difference between a good question or an objection. What is your commission is a good question, right? That's a very fair question. What are you willing to do it for? Now, will you lower your commission is an objection, right? It's still it's a good question. It's usually coming from a place of curiosity, but really it's an objection. They're asking you to lower your commission, basically at that point. So make sure you know the difference and that you treat them accordingly. You'll get a lot of the time people, they hear what's your commission and they start going into objection handling mode. And it's not necessary. You still handle it the same way, A, B, C, acknowledge, bridge, and then control. But you're gonna acknowledge it very differently. A good question is, you know, what rate do I need to pay you? How much will I be paying you? And that's when you can say the rate that I will do this for is 6%. Of that 6%, I will be sharing 3% with the other side. And in order to incentivize buyers agents to bring people to the property. So you're letting them know not only how that works, but you're letting them know what the total cost to them will be, okay? And also something that they don't always understand is that you're actually sharing part of your commission in that listing agreement with them. It's not a separate fee, and you're the person who's really giving that money to them. So the seller is, but you're really sharing that commission. That's something that you're doing. And one of the reasons, if they do object later, that we can come back to is, hey, you know, if you want me to lower my commission, that's either going to cut, you're either asking me to do it for, you know, if you're going to ask me to lower it to 4%, you're either asking for me to do the work for 1%, or you're asking me to take money out of a buyer's agent's pocket, which means they're much less likely to show the property or be enthusiastic about selling the property. So either it's going to be harder to market your property, or you're asking me to do the deal for 1%, and neither of those are good options, are they? So you're making sure that they know that. And you can set that up earlier if you're explaining appropriately how the commission works when you get the simple question of, what's your price, right? How much will you do it for? Do you have any questions about that, the acknowledge bridge control, Kayla?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. And you can always come back with control by going into something that can help you dig a little bit deeper into the onion. You'll hear people say a lot when they talk about scripting, going 3 deep. And that's just asking a question that goes a little bit deeper into the issue. So for example, I can understand you're concerned about what price we're going to list your home. Let me ask you this. How much are you hoping to make? Or how much do you owe? Or what is your reason for moving? Anything like that will help you get more information that helps get into their why, and it will help you handle the situation more appropriately. Because if they tell you we have to move because we accepted a job and we have to be out by September, you know, you're going to hear that their priority may not necessarily be price. It may be more of time, right? So you can dig a little bit deeper to find those whys. Great ones to go on. You don't have to go off topic. You can stay in the same topic, but just use it to dig deeper into that question. And you want to make sure you're the one asking questions too, because that makes sure that you're in control. If you are not the one asking questions, you are not in control of the conversation. That doesn't mean that they're doing something wrong by asking questions, of course. It just means you're not in control of the conversation. You always want to make sure that you're educating, and then you're asking your own questions, get the information that you need in order to serve them appropriately. So we can go into some actual objection handling now with that. And we're going to acknowledge bridge and control. We're going to actually get into some real practice today, me and Kayla apparently. And I'm going to be the seller on this first one. We'll do this first one up here in the box. And I will ask Kayla, hey Kayla, will you reduce your commission for me?
As you know, commissions are negotiable. I'm a deal maker. I'm here to bring a deal together. I'm not going to let a commission stand in my way. If it's beneficial to all parties involved, at this point, I suggest that we take a look at your house, discover what price we can market it for, find out exactly what your plans are, and go from there. Fair enough?
Great. So this is going to be like for something on the phone or via internet where you haven't even seen the property yet. You haven't even gone into the property yet, and they're already asking you to reduce your commission. First off, that's something that you need to store away in your brain, right? Because if this is like the first thing they ask out the gate before you've even seen the property, that's important for you to know, because it means it's a big deal to them, right? The next reason that this one is good is because it focuses on what's really important. If this is an internet lead or phone lead, someone you've never even met, the priority is getting in their damn home and taking a look at it so you can evaluate their home. Once you've evaluated their home, that is the hardest part, because most people won't ever interview more than one realtor. So if you can get in the door, you've already 90% of the time, if they're going to list it, they're going to list it with you and you've got the job. So focus on the priority, which is like, hey, like, you know, I'm not going to let a commission stand in the way if it's beneficial to our parties, but at this point, we still got to get you the information you need to get your home listed. We need to even know what it's worth. So it sounds like what we need to do is get together. Fair enough. And nobody can say no to fair enough, because it's the truth. It's logical. You've laid out a really simple, logical plan that will help them meet their needs. So they're following that logic if you're being clear and concise with it, and you're ending up at the appointment. And if they list the property, 90% of the time it's going to be with you, right? So if they list it all. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one, Kayla. Hey, so-and-so over at this other brokerage will list it for 4% commission instead of your 6%.
That may be true, but either they will work for 1%, which doesn't give them incentive or resources to market your home, or they will have to reduce the commission to agents with the buyers, which will reduce the number of willing and qualified buyers that will see your home.
Great. And follow that up with a bridge and ask a question, Kayla. So with that being said, let me ask you this. I don't know if you've thought about this, anything like that. Let me ask you this. Have you thought about anything like that? And then follow up with a question. So let me ask you this. How much do you owe on your home? Let me ask you this. How many other agents have you interviewed? You know, anything like that that helps you get further in the conversation.
Okay, that makes sense.
Perfect. And it helps get the heat off of, I mean, you don't want to keep dealing with this objection over and over. Anybody, if you do not bridge and take back control by getting a new question in there, they will keep coming back to that commission. You need to be confident. I just overcame your objection. Now here's my question for you. And if they keep coming back to the same objection, it's because you didn't really handle it appropriately or enough for their satisfaction, or you weren't confident about it. It's usually one or the other. So make sure you're confident and then you take back control. If you don't do that, you're just going to keep getting the same objection, and then you're going to get frustrated, or they're going to get frustrated, and you're going to get burnt out really quick. Okay. Oh, that's a good one there for so-and-so. Is putting ads in the property. So I'll go ahead and read this one. I like this one for anybody who's like, oh, so-and-so is putting this in the paper. I didn't see anything about you putting something in the paper. You know what, Mr. Customer, ads don't sell homes. Agents do. Let me educate you about how real estate really works. I am investing a percentage of my commission as an incentive to other agents to bring qualified buyers to see your home. As your agent, I will never waste your money, and I certainly would not waste my own. Of my commission, part goes to the company I work for being associated with them and the services they offer. And part goes to cover my business expenses. The part you're asking me to reduce is the part that I take home to my family, right? So you're helping explain to them, like, I know you see this number, like I'm gonna be taking home $12,000. And because you'll get that sometimes. I know someone in our office recently, a client got to the closing table and they saw how much this agent in our office was taking home because it ended up being a dual agency deal. And the client actually started crying at the closing table, feeling that the agent didn't earn that amount of money because they were walking away with just about nothing from the deal, and the agent was walking away with a lot of money. And so there are other, obviously, they should have been educated and gotten net sheets several times throughout the process, everything like that. We all know that. And I'm sure they probably did, but maybe didn't look at it. But if you're explaining this as it goes on, that like, hey, part of that income that you're going to see, or what that rate you see, is my upfront costs to market your property. We're talking professional photography, a drone video, my time to get it in the MLS, to get flyers made, to do this. Like, you're talking about like major time investment, days worth of time and energy from sometimes multiple people, and to get this home marketed appropriately. And especially if we're talking like the upper echelons, you know, I talk about putting things in magazines and things like that, that gets expensive very, very quickly. You can easily spend 15 to 20% of that take home just on marketing, or more if it's a more luxury or mid-level property. So you're putting part of that away. There's also a part of that that goes to the brokerage, right? So part of that's going to my brokerage for me being associated with them, and all the credibility that brings to your listing. So you're paying for this name that, I mean, it really does mean something. And all the resources that they provide me and support they provide me, like the world's largest referral network in any field, that allows me to get your property out there worldwide, right? So there's things that are a benefit to that. I know it feels like that money's not going someplace useful, but it is, because you're getting so much more. You have access to so much more working with the Keller Williams agent, Keller Mortgage, Keller Covered, all of those things that are available to you because I pay this money to my company. And then also you're talking about, you know, you're taking money out of what I bring home to my family. because my costs to market your property are not going to change. My costs of what I pay to my company are not going to, what's going to change. Really what you're talking about is me taking money out of my pocket for my time and my efforts. And nobody pays my medical, nobody pays for my vacations, those kinds of things. You don't necessarily want to need to get into that with people. It's not a sob story, like feel bad for me, I don't take home much of my paycheck. I mean, that's not what you're doing, but you're making sure that they understand that's not all money going in your pocket. Because some people do see that number and they get very shocked at what that number is. And one thing that you have to realize as an agent, because I know Lynette and I say this sometimes, like, we really do make good money for what we do. We make great money for what we do for the clients that close. But the thing is how many clients do we have that don't close or take years to ever see any income out of? What about all the things we do for people unpaid? So we do so much that is not a result of this one transaction that is unpaid and we do not get paid for. So the money we make, yes, we make a lot of money because sometimes we sell a home in a weekend. You know what I mean? And so we do make a lot of money for what we do sometimes. But that comes from being good at what we do, the expertise and experience we bring to the table. And that's also accounting for all the hours of work that I'm putting in behind the scenes to make sure I have that experience and I have that education to do a good job for you. Hey, Kayla. Joe at ABC Realty says he'll list my house at 4%.
Well, Joe would know what he is worth better than I would. Has he walked you through his marketing plan? Because I would love to show you my marketing plan for your house.
Perfect. That's a great one, Kayla. I love this one, and this may not be for everyone. I tend to have a little bit more of a direct personality with people. I'm a little bit more joking and direct. I like this one because it's a little bit of humor too, so I can pull it off a little bit. But this may not be for you. Just know that when it comes to objection handling scripts, there are so many to choose from. I just have a few selected here. You do not have to choose one of the ones that I choose. We have whole books and files created just for objection handling. Just because I like this one doesn't mean that it's the right choice for you. I would be hard pressed to believe Kayla would say that to someone, right?
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, unless it was like a close friend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? If it's someone who I have a good rapport going with, I might say that. You know what? They would know what they're worth better than I would. With that being said, I'd love to show you what I'm going to do for you. Okay, so going into what you can do and knowing that that's also kind of true, right? It's a little bit glossing over the points and it's not educating them on why that is, but it is the truth, right? There is a reason that some companies can go out there and list for 4%, and it's because they're not offering the same value that we are. Okay, Kayla, I know an agent who will work for less.
If they could really net you as much money as I can and offer a better value, wouldn't they have all the listings? The reality is they get,
there you go.
only a very small percentage of the total listings when we sell your home and net you the money you need in the time frame you need. Won't that be great? Sorry, I keep.
Wonderful. So this is a really good one to use when you know that the competition that they're talking about does not get as many listings as you do, or as Keller Williams does. You can use Keller Williams. I mean, you don't have to use yourself. So when you know it's some Joe Blow who lists one home a year, like, oh really? Yeah, they'll do it for 4%. But what are they bringing you for that 4%? I mean, if they really were the best for the lowest price, wouldn't everybody list with them, right? The truth is, it's not the case, or else they would be listing all the properties. Kayla, would you mind being the seller on this one for me?
Would you be willing to lower your commission to 2%?
Well, you know what, Kayla? We have just gone over the marketing plan, and we have looked at all the Lynette Headley Home Group and the Keller Williams Realty team can offer you in marketing your home. When looking at a 4% commission, we wouldn't be able to offer all those things to you. So if you're looking for an agent who markets homes and has a proven ability to sell your house for a top dollar, then let's sit down and look at the numbers. If you're looking for someone who's not going to give you our level of expertise and you're just interested in getting your home into the MLS, then maybe we're not the right team for you. But that being said, what do you know about us? Right? You can go into anything, but that is one option to go into at that point. So talking about the difference between value and price is very, very important. This is one way to do that. I have another example on my other page that I have picked out for us today. The Zoom thing always goes like right in the middle of my bars up top. So make sure you bring up the difference between value and price. Anybody who is frugal will tell you that value is much more important than price. A $10,000 commission for a home to be sold quickly and to get top dollar is more important than, you know, maybe paying $6,000, but it sits for 4 extra months and it ends up going for way under because you didn't bring the value and the expertise to it. That wasn't a good value for your $6,000, not in what it costed you in holding costs. So, and I usually use the winter coat example. I don't usually use a home. So if I put 2 winter coats side by side and you can pay $100 for one now that you would use for many years to come, and maybe even had a lifetime warranty with a reputable brand, maybe it's higher rated for cold, you can use it for skiing or for everyday work, or you could buy a winter coat for $30. It's only gonna last you the 1 year, and it's really only good to get to and from work, like work clothes. You could see that the value is here in the $100 jacket, right? And that's why value tends to be more important than price. So showing them what you're going to give them for the cost, especially when you're looking at someone who's just like a 5% or a 4%, it's a big difference in value when you're talking about, I'm bringing in a professional photographer, I'm going to put your property in all these different places, this is how I'm going to market your property. You're able to show them a lot more than someone who's just putting their home on the MLS and is not even representing them. Okay, so we have some good objections here. Let's take a second, let's read through them, and then we'll each pick 2, Kayla, and let's go through some of our favorites. And I guarantee you we're probably not going to pick the same 2. Okay, let me know when you're ready, Kayla. I'm ready.
Ready.
Okay, perfect. Hey, Kayla, you know, I interviewed another agent and they're willing to take less commission, and that's pretty attractive to us.
If they are not firm on their value as a real estate professional, how do you expect them to be firm when defending the value of your home?
Perfect. That's a great question, right?
Yeah, I like that one.
Right? I mean, I can tell you for damn sure, I'm a hell of a lot more protective of my money than I am of Kayla's money. Not that I don't care about Kayla's money, because I care about Kayla's money, but I'm a hell of a lot more protective of my money.
Yeah.
Right? So you're helping explain that to them in a way that makes a lot of sense to them. Like if you're not willing to go to bat for your own commission and your own value, something that doesn't even belong to you, are you going to go to bat for that? Probably not. Give me your other one, Kayla.
Is anything about that concerning to you that they were so quick to cut their commission?
I love this. That's a great one. It's helping undercut that and show them like, hey, and it's great in role play and with the client, it makes a lot of sense. They say, hey, I know this person, they're willing to take less commission. Gosh, is there anything about that concerning you that they were so quick to cut their commission? And you're bringing up a really good question. Isn't that concerning to you? I mean, what are they not offering you? What's going on here? And then you're basically giving them the questions to ask. that other agent if they ever talk to them again, right?
Yeah.
So you're bringing up objections for the other agent, which is the nice thing to do. You hope they never talk to that other agent again, but if they do, they're going to have some good questions for that agent. Okay, so on my end, I really like, well, what services are they going to leave out when it comes to marketing or servicing your home then? You saw my marketing plan. What are they not doing for you?
I like that one too.
Especially if you know who it is in town, you know that there's going to be some disparity between the levels of service. If you know who you're being interviewed against, and there's no issue with asking that. I never ask what number the other agent gave them, but I always say, hey, who else are you interviewing? Or how many other agents are you interviewing? You might as well, right? I mean, it can't hurt. And it can let you know what you need to lean into. Because if you know they're interviewing someone from, just put it in the MLS brokerage, you can really play it up like, no, I'm going to market your home. And I'm going to make sure we get like multiple offers. I'm going to really push for quick closing. I'm going to really negotiate on your behalf. You know, I'm really going to stand there and be that stalwart for you and do all these things for you. I'm going to actively manage your property in a way that it's going to provide you a lot of value. And I also like the next one. I found that in the absence of value, price usually is the determining factor. So is price the only determining factor for you at this point? And sometimes that answer is going to be yes. So you have to be prepared for that. Like, hey, it's a seller's market right now. I feel like I only need someone to put in the MLS because it's going to sell for top dollar, right? So they may say, yeah, price is really the only issue. I think it'll sell no matter who we list it with. But then you need to be prepared that marketing's not the only value you bring, right? You bring negotiation skills, you bring contract skills. So you need to be prepared to talk about those things, not just marketing plan. In listing presentations, we can get a little bit caught up in, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this for you. But so for example, if I go to a listing appointment and it's me and Lynette being shopped against Joanne and Sarah, we're doing a lot of the same things when it comes to marketing. It doesn't make any sense for me to beat the marketing like a dead horse, right? Because it's going to be really similar. And they also are Keller Williams, so that's going to be really similar. So it doesn't make any sense. So I have to somehow increase my value because I know they're offering comparable services at the same price even. So how do I increase our value to that client in a way that goes beyond the price? And there can be things like that, offering some sort of concierge or going above and beyond in some way that maybe that they're not, or things like negotiation, talking about negotiations and your contract skills, not because they don't have contract skills or negotiation skills. I definitely am not saying that, but because they may not have mentioned it in their listing presentation. Because most agents, when they go in for a listing presentation, are only talking about marketing, price, and commission. So it's not that the other agent may not be good at that, because that's definitely not what I was saying. It's just that they maybe didn't focus on that in their listing presentation. Okay. So Kayla, will you reduce your commission?
What aspects of the selling process do you not want me to take care of?
I love that. That's great. It's very simple. Okay, yeah. What aspects of the selling process do you want me to not do? I say, well, I want you to do everything. Okay, great. That's what my price is for doing everything. Right? Yeah, that's what my price is. I also love to answer with, okay, you want me to reduce my commission? Are you going to reduce your expectations? Okay, I wouldn't expect you to. I have high expectations as well, and that's why I hold my service price so highly, and I protect that because I know that I'm going to go above and beyond your expectations. Okay, another one that I really like here is, before we explore commission, is that the only concern you have at this point from hiring me to sell your home? This is a really, really good one if you feel like it's not the only objection. You're going to go into some listings and people, they feel jittery, or like they're not really in it to sell a house. Maybe they're not excited about moving, or maybe they're just weighing their options at this point, and they don't know, or it's going to come down to price. I mean, but the way you get the answer, because you can usually sense it in the conversation that you're having, like this isn't like, yeah, they're asking all the right questions, but it just doesn't feel like urgent, right? It doesn't feel important. It doesn't feel business-like. So you can ask, hey, is there anything at this point that would stop me from selling your home? Is there anything at this point that is causing you concern? So I really, really like that. Another option is here, what have I not answered that is giving you a lack of confidence in my ability to sell your home that would prompt you to ask that? And this is pretty out there, because you have to be willing to hear what they say, right? If they do say something negative about you and what you're presenting, right? So you have to be willing to hear it, and you have to be willing to handle it, if that's the case, well, business-like and professionality and grace. But I will tell you, 90% of the time you ask a question like this, they are not going to say anything disparaging about you. If anything, they're going to say something nice about you, which is really, really crazy. I used to ask people all the time when they bought something with someone else, I'd say, hey, you know what, congratulations. I'm so glad you got what you were looking for. In an effort for me to do better next time, what could I have done differently to earn your business? And 90% of the time it was, you know what, they just had what I needed at the time I needed it, right? It was usually never anything personal about me, the company I worked for, anything like that. It was usually the right time, the right place, the right product, right? It was not usually about us or the company. And if it was, they told us, and we were able to take that back and really examine that and go, is that something that we need to change or fix? Because sometimes it is. Or was it more of a chemistry issue? What was it? And you can dissect that a little bit and address it if it needs to be addressed. It doesn't always need to be addressed, but sometimes it really does. So it's a good opportunity for you to get feedback on that, especially if you don't feel like the appointment's going well. If you really feel like the appointment's not going well, like you don't have good rapport, you're probably feeling like you might not get the listing anyway, so why not ask for that kind of feedback? I also want to talk about, no, we're just going to leave it at that today. We're going to leave it at the commission because that's really important. We will not talk about pricing objections today. Kayla, did you have any questions before we head out?
I don't, have they ever, when you asked that last question, have they ever said like, well, I've used another Keller Williams agent and I was willing to pay that 6%, but I saw their marketing and it didn't work out for my house. So what's going to be different with you, or something like that?
Great. So one of the things you can always bring up, even being a Keller Williams agent, especially being a Keller Williams agent, actually, this is actually one of the bonuses we have over being like at Berkshire Hathaway, where they have a marketing department. In the marketing, you pick a plan and they generically make the thing for you, and the marketing department just spits out the same thing for like every single deal, right? So for us, we're unique in that we are business owners and we do all of our own marketing and things like that. So I can show them what specifically I do that's different than what anyone else does. And the reason that I know it's different is because I actually, just because of the position I am in, I can see who's using the products and stuff in Command. And I know nobody's using all the products we are in Command the way we're using them. So I know what I'm going to be doing is unique because we're the only one doing it. Right? So I can show up my unique value proposition is there. And obviously before I go to the listing appointment, I usually know that it was another Keller Williams agent that listed it, right? So I'm already prepared for what specifically I'm going to do differently. If it was listed prior, especially.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to point out exactly what things I would have done different. And part of that may be pricing the home differently, and they may need to be ready for that conversation. Especially in our market right now, if it doesn't sell, it probably wasn't a lot to do with the marketing, right? Now it's going to be some, because they're going to be inclined to blame their agent and not themselves for not lowering the price. So be careful, like tread lightly, but be prepared to bring it back around to a price conversation, because yeah, if it's not selling in this market right now, unless it's like a really like high up there listing, if it's anything under 300 and it doesn't sell, it's either condition or price was the issue, not the marketing. You don't have to say that to them that way, but bring it around to price so they understand.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Nope, that was it.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, we're going to call it a night tonight then. I hope you have a great night, and I will see you guys next week.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.